Good evening. I'd like to call to order the City of Hawaiian Gardens special meeting, City Council, on Tuesday, February 28th, 2017 at 5 p.m. At the same time, I'd like to open a special meeting for the successor agency, RDA. It is a closed session, so I'd like to open closed session and adjourn. Oh, can we get a roll call?
Start over. Councilmember Director Rios will be late. Councilmember Director Maravilla will be late. Councilmember Director Ronaldo Rodriguez. Mayor Pro Tem Vice Chair Member Bruce.
Here.
Mayor Chair Member Tremble.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Okay. Thank you very much. I will call the closed session to order. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for your patience. We're back from a closed session, and I'd like to have the attorney report out.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. Tonight, with all 5 members of the City Council being present, the City Council and the successor agency RDA met in closed session to discuss the 2 items that are listed on tonight's special meeting agenda. With respect to item number 1A, City staff made a presentation to the City Council. City Council gave its direction to City staff. No final action was taken, and that concludes the report with regards to 1A. And with regards to 1B, the staff, again, made a presentation to the City Council. City Council gave direction to staff. No final action was taken. There's nothing further to report. And at this point, it would be appropriate to adjourn.
Thank you very much. We're going to resume our regular City Council meeting, our successor agency RDA meeting, and Public Housing Authority, all at the same time. Can we have an invocation from our City Clerk, please? Can you please rise?
Father God, we had a great day today. It was beautiful outside, and we had such a blessing with all these young people from Fedi Academy here doing the Student Government Day. They're so knowledgeable and so interested, and it shows that their parents care, it shows that their teachers care, and it shows the dedication that these young people have to be going to school and to further themselves at young ages to be something very important in our community and other communities. And Father, tonight we just ask that you would be with the council as they discuss the business of the city. Everything will be done according to your will. And Father, just keep your loving arms around us and your watch care over us. We praise your holy, holy name. Amen.
Is there anyone to lead us in the flag salute? Well, I'll lead us. I'll lead us in the flag salute. So can you put your right hand over your heart? Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. We've done a roll call?
No.
Okay. Can you do the roll call,
Yes,
please?
yes. Director Bach?
Here.
Director Mahar asked to be excused. Councilmember Director Rios?
Present.
Councilmember Director Maravilla?
Present.
Councilmember Director Rodriguez?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Vice Chair Member Bruce?
Here.
Mayor Chair Member Tremble?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. We have at this time presentations and proclamation, a presentation of a video of recent special events in the city. If you would just pay attention to those screens right there.
I introduced myself and I welcomed the young people from Fedi Academy to the Student Government Day and gave them a brief history on the city and the incorporation and the elections so they get an idea of what government really is about.
My name is Cheryl Harris. I'm from Fedi Middle School. I am the ASB advisor, which is the associate student body. Government Day is so important for our students because it gives them the opportunity to see what really happens within the city. And we have been practicing and having a good chance to kind of debate over issues that are going to affect them and their families. So it's a good time for them to shadow the people that they have pretending to be, and then they can actually have a mock trial to actually debate on those issues and see if those issues are passed or not.
Hi, I'm David Avejas from Fedi Middle School, and today I learned a lot from Barry and how the city really works, and I'm excited for tonight.
Hi, my name is Dina Rodriguez. I'm from Fedi Middle School, and I'm part of ASB. Today I was introduced to Barry, and he showed us around, and I learned a lot of different things about the community.
Well, this is one of my favorite things to do because it's great to see students come to city government and to learn all about how it works, and then actually to do a mock city council meeting, which is always very entertaining. The kids are articulate, they ask great questions, they're interested, and they're engaged. It's a lot of fun.
I'm trying to teach them how a city budget works, how the individual departments work, and within the community, what departments handle different items.
I'm Jacqueline Aguirre, and I'm learning about how the public works and like how everything's organized and everyone has their own job to do so that city could like stay a city.
Student Government Day is an opportunity for the kids to come to City Hall and see the operations from inside and learn about what it takes to run a city. Today, Melissa Gonzalez is acting as the city manager. So we're going to be holding a mock city council meeting, and she'll be up there with the city council to provide any direction that they may ask of her.
Today's program is very important for our students because they get to learn how the government works in every other city. And the students are very interested in, and it's fun, and so we'll have the mock meeting a little later on, and the girls are very interested in it, so you might want to have them give you a little bit of information about themselves.
So can you introduce yourself and talk a little bit about maybe something you learned that was surprising?
I'm Cassandra, and I go to Fedi Middle School, and something interesting is that how his vision became into a project that represents something important.
My name is Alize Prada. I come from Fedi International Studies Academy. And one thing that interests me was how he said that he didn't think he was going to be in politics. And that's pretty cool because you have like a voice in what you want to do and in the law. So I think that's pretty cool.
I got to say, Ferris Fedi, you're doing a fantastic job. Your students are very alert. They write notes for every little thing. I was very impressed. I feel that their meeting they're going to have at 11 o'clock is going to be a pretty good meeting because they did take their notes, they did study, they seen the process, and I heard them interacting. They're having a lot of fun. So I'm excited to see their 11 o'clock show.
Hi, my name is Ashley Robles, and I had an opportunity to participate in the mock council meeting here at the City of Hawaiian Gardens. And it was really fun that they gave us an opportunity to put ourselves in their shoes and see how it really feels to be in a council meeting.
Hi everyone, I hope you're all having a good day so far, which I'm sure you are. And I hope you've picked up a lot of knowledge and a better understanding of what government is like, or at least local government.
I want to thank everybody for your participation. I want to say this, that I observed everybody and I seen everybody really thirsty for the knowledge that council and staff had to pour out to you, and I was very impressed by all the notes that you've taken. So I'm just encouraging you because I see it in each and every one of you, and I just ask that you just continue doing what you're doing. And when I see your principal, I'm going to shake his hand and tell him you're doing a great job. At this time, I'd like council to join me on the platform so we can call up our students from Government Day and give them an award. Okay. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming out once again. I want to thank our students. You did a fantastic job. I'm very proud of you. I want to thank staff for pouring into them and showing them not only what to say, but how to say it. They expressed it in such a beautiful way. Mr. Bashir Martin, I want to thank you very much for this beautiful film you put up in such a short notice. You did a great job. You covered a lot of great shots, you and your partner. You did a great job, and thank you very much. So I'm going to be calling names and ask for you to come up and receive this award. Let me read it to you. City of Hawaiian Gardens presents a certificate of appreciation to Yulissa Gomez in recognition of your participation in the Student Government Day. This certificate is hereby presented on this 28th day of February 2017, and it's signed by your mayor, Hank Trimble. So, Yulissa Gomez, thank you very much. You did a great job. Leslie Mendoza. Leslie, thank you very much for participating in our Government Day. Thank you very much. Nerida Nieto. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Narida. Congratulations.
Narita.
Thank you very much. You know, because they did such a beautiful job. I don't want to be the one to mess up their name. Amen? I mean, you get it? Leslie Tristan. Alice Parada. Cassandra Ortiz. Melissa Gonzalez. Jackie Castaneda. There we go. Jackie, thank you very much. Castaneda. Thank you. I know, but that's not Isabella. That's what I'm saying. Come on up. Oh, is that you? Oh, yes. Okay, sit down, please. Okay, go ahead.
I wanted to present this young man his the certificate of thanks because he was with me today, and he was the only young man in the entire group. Everybody else was women, right? Yeah. So what a wise young man to spend his day with a bunch of women. But anyway, this is for David Naveja, so come on up, David. Thank you very much. And I just want to say, what a great group of kids. And I think the teacher needs to come up here and say something too, because these kids were prepared. And our kids aren't always prepared, but these kids were prepared. They took notes. They were articulate. They asked questions. They did a great city council, mock city council meeting. So our hats are off to you. We appreciate you and all that you do with your kids. Thanks. Thank you, guys. You're great.
I'm going to take a picture with you. Come that way. Go that way. Okay. Teacher, can we have you come up with us, please?
Oh, sure. Now, no one will be smiling, but you won't have glasses.
I'm over here.
And you did such a fine job on that. Thank you very much. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Excuse me? Okay. All right. Thank you very much. And as Mayor Pro Tem Bruce said, you did a beautiful job up here as council, and we enjoyed it. Good job, teacher. I'd like to take a 15-minute recess so we could have refreshments out in the foyer with our government students. Thank you very much. Welcome back. We're going to continue in our regular city council meeting, and I'll open up oral communications. This is a time reserved for members of the public wishing to speak on items on and not on the agenda, except for public hearing items. This period will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Maximum time allocated is 15 minutes. Upon conclusion of oral communications, the city council or city staff, at the direction of the mayor, may respond to any questions or statements that were presented by members of the public. The city council is prohibited by law from discussing or taking any action on items presented during oral communications that are not on the agenda. Would anybody like to speak? You can step up to the microphone.
Good evening. I'm Carolyn Reed. I'm the library manager over at the Hawaiian Gardens Public Library, and I wanted to bring your attention tonight to 3 programs we have coming up soon. The first one is called Aesop's Fables. It's given to us by the 4th District Supervisor and their Arts Education Partnership Program. It's happening this Thursday at 4 o'clock. It is a 2-person play that kind of covers how Aesop came to be a fabulist. This Saturday at 2 o'clock, we are turning the children's area into a construction zone as we put out various plastic building blocks and let them go at it and create whatever they think they could create in that short time of an hour. But I've seen some magnificent things happen in the past, and so I'm hopeful that we'll have more tall towers. And then on Saturday, March 11th, coming up, we have a Get Safe Bullying Prevention Program. It's aimed at tweens, middle school students. It is presented by Get Safe in collaboration with the County of Los Angeles Public Library, and it's about giving tweens tools and raising their awareness and empowering them to recognize and address bullying in the schools. It's an hour long. All of these programs are free, and everyone is welcome to the first 2. And the second, or the last one, the bullying one, we hope that tweens would sign up ahead of time so we could be prepared and have the right number of materials. But these are things coming up that didn't make the newsletter, so I wanted to bring them to your attention. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to come up and speak?
Pedro Amaro, Hawaiian Gardens, Britton Street. I was here at last week's meeting, 2 weeks meeting, 2 weeks ago, and I spoke about the transit buses, MTA, ROC, OC Transit, and Long Beach. And I want to thank staff for contacting me. Mr. Gomez, I believe, misunderstood that I was talking about the city buses. And no, I wasn't talking about the city buses. I was talking about the MTA, the Orange County Transit, and Long Beach. And I want to thank Mr. Boudreau, Donald Boudreau, for answering my question. He actually answered the question if the buses can actually park anywhere they want. And he actually stated to me that, no, they have to also follow the rules of the road, which I do appreciate, and I want to thank staff for contacting me. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak? At this time, I'll close oral communications. Council, is there any comments you have for anyone that spoke? I had one question for the librarian. Did you ask to have your events put in our newsletter?
Oh, I did. These were events that came out.
Oh. Yes, because our staff are willing to help at any time. Thank you very much. But it did go out on our cable, so people will hear about it. Can you come back to the mic so I could ask you a question, please? Thank you, sir. So was there a reason why you couldn't get in our newsletter?
These events, some of them are gifted to us.
Is it on? The green light on?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you so much. Yes, I did have a chance to get as much as I could in. The nice thing is we're getting gifted programs from various entities that cooperate with the County of Los Angeles. So we're able to get free programming to the community. And I don't always have the information in time to make the newsletter deadline. That's why I wanted to highlight these. And I hope to at other meetings highlight things as they come up where we don't have a chance to get them in the newsletter. But I do want the community to know there's lots of great stuff going on in the library.
Thank you very much.
Can you give the phone number for our listening audience of the library?
562-496-1212. We're open Tuesday through Saturday. Oh.
Will you please repeat everything that you've said?
It looked green to me. I'm sorry. I didn't know how bright it was supposed to be. I wanted the community to know about terrific events that we're having, and while we do have a calendar up in the lobby for each month, sometimes things get gifted to us at the point where we can't get them onto the schedule or into the city newsletter. So please feel free to call the library at 562-496-1212. We're open Tuesday through Saturday, and ask us about a lot of our wonderful free programming. Thank you.
Thank you very much. At this time, I will close oral communications, and I would like to ask our president of our ABC School Board and trustee of the City of Hawaiian Gardens, Chris Abadaka, to come up and give his report, please. It was Student Government Day today, so you got to rise that up.
It's one of my favorite parts of the meeting. Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Chris Apodaca. I am the Trustee Area 7 representative as well as board president of ABC Unified School District. I'm glad to be here, and it's an honor to continue to serve this academic year as president of the school board. And in that capacity, I wanted to make a few announcements and give some updates on some of the things that we're pushing and we're dealing with at the school district right now. First and foremost, I have, as well as the district office, have been receiving phone calls over concerns with Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE. So I'm going to make this as clear and simple as possible. It has long-standing been our policy at ABC Unified to not release any student to anyone who is not a parent or a legal guardian, absent a warrant or a court order signed by a judge. I feel the need to bring this up right now because, not at this meeting, but our March 21st meeting, I will be proposing a resolution to my colleagues on the board, and I hope I have your support. Please feel free to join and weigh in on as far as your opinion is. It will be available ahead of time for you to review. To remind the public, as well as our educators, what our policy is when it comes to releasing any student to any government agency. Again, I'll make it clear. Absent a warrant signed by a judge or a court order, we do not release students to anybody except a legal guardian or their parents. In some cases, we will if we have permission from the legal guardian. Currently, the policy, the way that it stands in the rare event that they should show up, any agency, not just ICE, but any federal agency. According to a 1972 U.S. Supreme Court case, we have the right as a school district to keep the child until a legal guardian or parent or designee thereof shows up, or until we can verify that a court order signed by a judge or a warrant signed by a judge is indeed legitimate. We're going to draft this resolution working with the California School Boards Association as well as with a law firm that specializes in immigration law. This is something that I feel the need to bring up, not because we're in defiance of any type of administration or any type of political rhetoric. I'm a bipartisan position, but for the simple fact that we've had enough people reaching out to us saying, we're concerned or we're keeping our children from school. The safest place that a student can be, that a child can be, is at school. Period. Do not keep them at home. Do not keep them or send them anywhere else. Monday through Friday, unless they're sick, keep them at home. Send them to school. Okay, I want to make it, again, very clear. All of our administrators, all of our educators have been briefed and have received training on the fact that this is our policy. This is nothing new. This has been a long-standing policy. We've reviewed it, and it's lawful. The principal can keep the student and refuse to release the student. Again, absent a warrant or court order signed by a judge, and we've added the extra internal control of having it be verified by the superintendent's office. I've also asked that in the rare event, should this occur, that I, along with the rest of the board, be immediately notified, as we would with any other incident at any of our schools. They're very good about this. Usually, once law enforcement contacts the school site or the district, the entire board usually knows within 5 minutes. So that's our policy. We will draft the resolution to reiterate it and to reinforce the fact that we stand by this policy and we're prepared, not just legally, but infrastructure-wise. All of our educators know if this happens, then the following things have to happen. It's called due process. And on our end, it's called performing our due diligence to make sure that our students are kept safe. Send your kids to school. Along that line, Congresswoman Linda Sanchez is having a Know Your Rights event tomorrow, if you can make it. And in a correspondence with her office today, very brief one, they did mention the fact that they're aware of activity by ICE, specifically within our district, but also within Hawaiian Gardens. If you can make it, it's tomorrow at the Norwalk Arts and Sports Complex. The address is 13000 Clarkdale Avenue, Norwalk 90650. The address again, 13000 Clarkdale Avenue, Norwalk 90650. If you have questions, you can call 562-860-5050, 562-860-5050. Bear with me as I say this again in Spanish because I feel like the folks it would affect the most speak Spanish. Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Chris Apodaca. Soy el presidente del conjunto escolar y estoy aquí para asegurar a todos los papás de familia que sus estudiantes, sus hijos, están seguros en nuestras escuelas, en nuestros campestres. Trabajando con abogados que su especialidad viene siendo ley de inmigración y junto con las organizaciones escolares del estado de California, yo junto con los demás del distrito estamos juntando una póliza para públicamente anunciar cuáles son los derechos de cada estudiante, de ustedes como padres, y más que nada, cuáles son los derechos que nosotros, como maestros y como administradores, estamos promoviendo y estamos reservando. En caso que algún agente, no nomás de ICE, ¿verdad?, de inmigración, pero de cualquier agencia federal o estatal, se presenta en nuestras escuelas, nosotros hemos dirigido a nuestros administradores no dejar ir a sus hijos. La única forma en cual se permite que sus estudiantes vayan a salir del campestre, de la escuela, es si van a casa con un familiar que ellos conocen, que pueden identificar, o con alguien que es guardia de ellos legalmente, ¿okay? Que quizás no son sus papás, pero son sus abuelos, o son alguien que tiene custodia de ellos, ¿okay? Y quiero también ponerlos, advertir que mañana hay una junta con la congresista Linda Sánchez en la ciudad de Norwalk. Empieza a las 6 y se acaba a las 7:30. Hay recursos legales y también hay información sobre cuáles son sus derechos, no nomás para usted, pero para toda su familia. La dirección viene siendo 13000 Clarkdale Avenue, Norwalk, 90650. 13000 Clarkdale Avenue, Norwalk, 90650. Teléfono para ubicarse un poco y ganar más información es el área 562-860-5050. Área 562-860-5050. Quiero de nuevo asegurarlos que durante el día de lunes a viernes, el espacio más seguro que hay para sus estudiantes, para sus hijos, es dentro del salón en la escuela. Favor de no mantenerlos en la casa. Favor de asegurar que ellos reciban la educación, el cual ellos, nomás por vivir aquí, por estar aquí, tienen el derecho de recibir una educación pública y gratuita. Si tienen preguntas, favor de contactar al distrito o también me pueden contactar a mí también. I failed to mention that it starts at 6 and ends at 7:30, from 6 to 7:30 p.m. And if anybody needs a ride or you know somebody that needs a ride, let me know. I have plenty of room. Si alguien necesita un ride, ¿verdad? Yo los puedo llevar también. Favor de avisarme con tiempo. Just let me know ahead of time. Okay. Now, that was a lot. Are there any questions with regards to this? Because I've said it so many times between last week and this week. I want to make sure that you as elected officials understand what your school district's doing to protect, what your school district has always done to protect your students. Are there any questions?
Have you been in contact with Churla?
We have been, and actually some of the literature that we made available is a guide in Spanish and English that was distributed by them.
Yes,
so them in conjunction with AXA, the Association of California Superintendents. So we've got about, I would say, 2 or 3 different law firms from different organizations that have offered to help. So Churla is an excellent resource. Any other questions?
Just a comment. Thank you for reiterating what the district is doing to protect our students. I think it's in everyone's best interest to continue to support our education system and make sure that the kids are getting the education that that they need to get. So thank you for reiterating that. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I also just wanted to say thank you. This is really important. A lot of people are very nervous, and this is the kind of thing that we need to hear, that people are reassured that, their kids are being taken care of and that they're being watched closely by the district. So thank you. Appreciate that.
Absolutely. Any other questions?
No question. I just wanted to repeat what you said, that kids are safer in school. Thank you very much, Chris.
And if
for your
anybody
report.
wants to argue that, have them give me a call.
Okay.
For this particular topic, I want to remind everybody watching at home, members of the community here, we do not collect immigration data. We do not collect, as a district, documentation. And we have absolutely, positively no plan to, because the emphasis by law is that any child aged 5 to 18, 17 and a half, has to be in school, has to receive an education, whether it's public or private. However, most cases, obviously, it's public. It's the law. Every single child has a right to a free public education. I'd rather focus on making sure it's a high caliber one than focusing on having our truant officers chase students around and try to get them to school. So that said, thank you for your help. Please pass the information on. If you guys have any questions, you can contact me directly or our superintendent's office. So that out of the way. I was in Sacramento last week with Haskell Middle School, who is the 5th out of 5 schools to receive the prestigious Schools to Watch Award, which means they are a national model of how to teach middle school students. I mean, I had, when I was up there, I did have to throw it in there that Fetty got it first, but this means that all of our middle schools are national models for how to prepare our tweens, so to speak, right, our preteens, early adolescent students, for not just the rigors of high school, but to help them think beyond that. Because in middle school now, we're teaching them life skills, CTE, or career technical education. It's a foundation. You have them tinkering with robotics. You have them learning about what it's like to work in a professional setting. Middle school really is now the target. Everybody says get them in high school. It's middle school. If you can, 6th grade, but 7th and 8th grade, that's going to help them determine the path that they want to take. So we were recognized on the Senate floor. Haskell, Principal Lewis was there, and I'm grateful to Senator Tony Mendoza for recognizing us. We did meet briefly with Speaker Rendon, who was nice enough to squeeze us in, and then Assembly Member Christina Garcia. It's a great honor, especially since we have so many students from Hawaiian Gardens that attend Haskell Middle School. This next, March 7th, this next Tuesday, we are going to be having a special study session. It starts at 5:30, concludes at 6:30, to discuss the $3.3 million in one-time funds that we received. We currently have $3.3 million that's on the table, and we're deciding how we want to spend it amongst everybody in the district. If you are interested in learning more about what those funds are, show up to the meeting. If you have no idea what they are, show up to the meeting. As elected officials, it goes a long way to have a city council member come into a meeting like that and voice your opinion, because the needs in Hawaiian Gardens are vastly different than our other trustee areas within our school district, and I think all of you are aware of that. To have you there and to have your voice there would be greatly appreciated, not just by me, but I assure you by our students and by our principals and teachers in Hawaiian Gardens. It starts at 5:30, and it's in the district conference room, not the boardroom, but the conference room. It's in the back right behind the boardroom. It is open to the public. Also, something that we've been working on for almost 2 years now is an ROP dissolution. You may or may not have heard some folks were saying that we're going to close Southeast Academy. We're not closing Southeast Academy. Southeast Academy has nothing to do with ROP. Southeast Regional Occupation Program is different from Southeast Academy. Southeast ROP, or CROP, after looking through and crunching numbers, we realized that we can do everything in-house, avoid overhead, avoid the middleman, and save our district between $2 and $3 million instantly out the gate, 1. And 2, we can take those teachers who are teaching, whether it's auto, whether it's, actually we have a great culinary program, and bring them to the district, offer them full-time jobs at the district, pay them more, and actually give them benefits. Make them members of ABCFT, make them members of the teachers union. So for them, it's an amazing offer. We've already begun to bring teachers over. As of June 30th, ROP will no longer exist. And this is something that my colleague Maynard Law and I have been working on for the last year and a half, and we're very happy with the outcome. But we're not closing Southeast Academy. That'll keep going. It's a separate entity that's operated by Norwalk La Mirada School District. So in case you heard that, I addressed that, but also too, we're saving money. We're saving money that'll allow us, instead of having an entry-level program that they'll maybe make 10 to 12 bucks an hour in, to now give us more room to have an LVN program. Imagine having a student graduate as an LVN with an LVN license right after they turn 18, and then hopefully, collaboration with Cerritos College, having them go from an LVN to an RN within a year. We're talking right out of high school making 20 to 25 bucks an hour. That's not bad. We're talking within 2 years of graduation, just so long as the college can accommodate us, making significantly more than that, at least double. These are the types of jobs that we have a need for. We've already begun floating the idea with 2 major large health providers that said we will take LVNs. We will not only pay for licensing, but we'll offer them internships right out the gate. These are the types of collaborations that we welcome at ABC, something that assures that our students have a career, they're career ready, and then from there they can build onto it. If they want to go to a 4-year, great, but at least they can help out at home, or they can move out and be on their own, but they can afford and they have options. And that's what we strive to offer our students. Career readiness, of course, and college preparedness, of course. They're not mutually exclusive. Also, too, I wanted to mention briefly that there was a parent who approached us with regards to a concern at one of those schools. Her student was denied a lunch because there was no money on their account. It was a total fluke. She forgot to reload the account. However, visibly she was upset because her child is an athlete. And I bring this up because as a result of that conversation and that parent actually reaching out and saying, hey, I have a concern, I'm upset, I have an issue, we're revamping the policy. Our new policy moving forward is no student will be denied a lunch if they can't afford it when they're there, if there's nothing on there, if they don't have money. There's limits to it, and the specifics of the policy will be made available to all of the parents. I believe it's fairly simple. Now, instead of saying, well, you're of a certain age, there's no money on there, you don't qualify for free and reduced lunch, now they're allowed to miss up to a certain amount of times without paying it or putting reimbursement in there. It doesn't affect anybody who's on free or reduced lunch. It only affects those who pay cash for their lunch. But it's one of those small little things that, goes a really long way. I really encourage parents and community members to reach out to me. In most cases, I get back to them within a day or two, and it's always me that gets back to them. And I will end with really good news. Our superintendent was named Superintendent of the Year for Region 14 by AXA, which is the Superintendent's Association in the state of California. That is huge because she's a good superintendent. She's a great superintendent. She's Superintendent of the Year. But it means that we also beat out some of our neighboring school districts, which for me, I'm just kind of like, next time I run into any of my colleagues from these neighboring districts around here, I'm going to remind them that my superintendent's better than theirs. So that said, thank you so much for your support. I appreciate the time tonight. And if there's anything that I can do or any ideas that you have, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm always available. If I don't answer, leave me a message, text me, email me, the usual. Okay? Any questions or any? Cool.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Good job.
All right, everybody.
At this time, I will go to the agenda organization, and I would like to now move to open our Public Housing Authority. Public hearings, none. Ordinances, none. Consent calendars let me see. There's 3 items on the consent calendar. Would anyone like to pull any of these items? Well, we're going to... And where was that at? Consent? I didn't highlight it. I only look for highlights. Okay. Public hearing. Let me see. So we are going to Public Housing Authority. Open that up. And A1 is a public hearing. Staff? Okay. Conduct joint public hearings with successor agency to the RDA and to adopt the following resolution. Adopt Resolution 217-001 to consent to the sale of certain properties, assets by the former redevelopment agency of the City of Hawaiian Gardens. This agenda item was continued from January 24th, 2017 meeting. Staff?
Yes, we're going to recommend that this item be continued to the May 23rd agenda so that we can preserve the public hearing notice, and that'll save costs on publications. So that's about a 3-month request for a continuance.
I make a motion to receive this,
Continue it.
to continue it.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 I read that. It's a joint, yes. Now we'll move to consent calendar. There's 3 items on consent calendar. Does any council wish to pull any item? I make a motion to approve the consent calendar as is. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
C, discussion items. New business. Alba, you have any new business? Okay. Oral staff reports, oral board reports. I'm going to adjourn this meeting. I'll adjourn the regular Public Housing Authority meeting to be held on Tuesday, March 28, 2017 at 6 p.m. Now we'll move to our regular City Council meeting. We'll go to the successor agency meeting, which I thought they were joint, but we go through them anyway. Okay. Successor agency meeting is now open. We have to do that one. We have a consent calendar with 1 item on it. Does anybody wish to pull that item? I make a motion to receive the consent calendar as is.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I adjourn this meeting to the next regular successor agency meeting to be held on Tuesday, March 14th, 2017 at 6 p.m. Now we'll continue with our regular. Okay, we'll take a minute so we could reorganize ourselves up here. Okay, we'll move on to our regular City Council meeting, and we will be going to our consent calendar. There's 11 items on consent calendar. Does any council wish to pull any items?
Yes, I would like to pull C1.
C1. Any others? At this time, I'd like to make a motion to receive the remaining consent calendar items as is.
I'll second it.
No, the remaining. Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we'll go to C1. Adopt resolution number 012-1217 to amend revenues and expenditures budget fiscal year 2016-2017 for Fund 01 and Fund 30. Staff? Okay. Linda?
Mayor Trimble and members of City Council, the attached amendments to the expenditures and revenues reflect the topics that we discussed at the study session on February 21st. Myself and or staff can answer any questions related to anything in the attached staff report.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Okay, on page number 10, under personnel, in fact, the first entry, there's a little note on the right-hand side. It says, move staff assistant 2 from PW 3 months, add staff assistant 1, 25-hour work week, I guess. What are we saying here? That did somebody get promoted, or what's the story on that?
There was a staff assistant 2 position that was in Public Works, and that person retired, so that is an available position, and the decision was made to move that to, it is not needed in Public Works, to move that to the admin area.
So that was from Public Works too?
Right. It's the staff 2 is already an existing position. Someone retired, leaving a vacant position.
So you just fill in the vacancy?
So that would fill that vacancy, but move it from, we took it out of Public Works and put it into non-departmental or in the admin area. And then the other one is a new position, a staff assistant 1 position for 25 hours a week to assist again in the admin area.
Now, isn't this something has to be approved by the administrator and city council and the union when you make changes like that?
So this is something that would have to be approved by the city council, and it's proposed for you to approve it tonight. So in discussion, staff proposed to add this position to basically help out with overall clerical assistance to the various departments in administration, city clerk, and finance. You have the opportunity tonight to approve it or not approve it. It does not need to be approved by the union, as it is an existing classification.
Because that cost us an additional $15,000. Is that from what according to the budget?
Correct. So this, I don't know the total number, but this is it wasn't budgeted in the 15-17 budget. So this is a request to add it to the current budget, which is approximately, the number is in there's only approximately 4 months worth. It'll be part of the future budgets going forward. And so the request tonight by staff is to add a part-time staff assistant 1.
All right, thank you. I have one more item here that I'm on these, on page 29. The last item is Methobotics program. I know this was brought up about, I don't know, was it 3 years ago? And can you explain what this program is, or how? It's a $20,000 additional on the budget.
You can talk to him.
So that program has not been implemented yet. It came up during the budget discussion during the study session, and we're still looking at possibly implementing a program. if the program does not get implemented in the current fiscal year, these would be savings to the budget at the end of the year. I'm not real familiar with the program itself, and I'm not sure as far as ultimately, if we started a program like this, we'd have to bring an agreement back to City Council within the current budget year.
Okay. So some of these items, I know we have talked about it during the budget session, that we might not want some of these programs anymore. We might want to change them to something else. Are we going to be able to do that? For instance, also existing contracts, for instance.
So, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I was just wondering if we do we have to keep them until, I guess, our next budget meeting is going to be in March of next year? Or when is that next budget meeting?
So, two things. At the study session, there were several items actually that we plan on bringing to you to explore further in our March meeting. Those are current contracts that we discussed that you wanted to evaluate further. The entire budget, to include all contracts and all programs, would be evaluated by you to decide what programs you want to continue, change, modify, add, really through the budget process that we'll be meeting in likely in May.
We're talking about this year, right?
May of this year, correct.
Okay.
So what we discussed last week essentially was a update on where we were in the current 2-year budget. And part of that update included some recommended amendments by staff, and it also included some items that the council wished to discuss further, which we will bring back to you in our March meeting for direction. There was a handful of items, and those will be agendized and broken down with regards to this finances.
Okay, thank you.
Now, in regards to this mathematics program, so if we approve this tonight, are we approving that program, or just the possibility of funding it? I mean, I don't understand.
So, go ahead.
I have a comment. So if you look at the line entry, you can see that it was actually approved by the previous council. It just hasn't been implemented. So you approved it before I came on board.
We did not approve it.
The previous council did.
Yeah, the previous council did.
That was,
Which you were a part of.
Yes.
Yes,
But I didn't approve it.
Let me say something about this.
I was part of that council and I did approve it.
This is approved, and there's only a couple more months of school. So even if we approve it now, it wouldn't be implemented in time for this school year. And it's up to see if we really want to invest in
But
this
it's already
mathematics.
approved. It's already approved. It just was never implemented, but
It hasn't been implemented for years.
but
so,
it was approved. You're saying if we approve
Yeah,
it, but
it
it's
was
already
approved
there.
by a council that no longer is here.
exists.
None of them are here that approved
And
that
we can
program.
always
Correction, I
refigure.
was here and I did approve it.
Oh, you were here. That's true. I'm sorry about that.
So how do you see that, our city attorney? If a previous council, say 3 years ago, approved something and it was never put on any of the budgets until all of a sudden now, and that previous council is gone except for one, is it? I mean, how is it binding?
Yeah, if I may, if I'm understanding this correctly, this is a budget that was approved 2 years ago, and so all of these dollars are previously approved. If I'm also understanding this correctly, there isn't a current contract that's been entered into between the city and any outside consultant related to these dollars. So if you want to strike this $20,000 apart, this council could, as part of the amending this budget procedure, but but the money has already been allocated, it's already been approved. I think you also still have the control of whether you wanted to enter into a contract to actually spend these dollars, which isn't before you right now. So at that point, you could also just choose not to approve any contracts, and you wouldn't have spent these allocated dollars.
Thank you.
Mr. Manager, can you elaborate on this?
Yes, so essentially, at some point, these dollars were approved as part of the current budget. To spend these dollars would require an agreement with whoever the provider of the program will be. That agreement will come before the city council. I think, as the mayor alluded to, in the current calendar year for the school district, whether or not a program like this would be able to be implemented this year really depends on kind of the agreement that'll be before you, and at that time you can decide how you want to handle this type of program. You can also decide tonight. I mean, that is at any time, whether it's as previous city council or your decision, you could certainly amend your decision. So really, the reason it's in here the way it is now, not stricken basically, is because there'd be additional opportunities in the future for you to evaluate whatever proposed robotics program was being brought forth.
According to the decision before, this $20,000, is this supposed to be a donation towards the schools for this program?
You know, honestly, I
towards
do
a
not know. I'm not
contract?
familiar with the program. So whenever these dollars are going to be expended in the future, now or into the future, it would come before the city council again as far as how that's being proposed to be spent.
Because if it was to the school, we made a council decision to donate $30,000 in total to schools this year. This would be, almost the whole budget.
Yeah, I don't think it's a request for a donation. It would be to pay for a robotics program, which would come by way of an agreement, and that agreement would come to the city council.
That is a separate program, and unfortunately, we do understand how you feel about education, Mr. Bruce.
Yeah,
but
whatever.
the intent for the program, and I was here and I fully support my vote on that project, is to bring children up to date with the robotics program. Your school board member just mentioned how important robotics is for middle schools. It has not been implemented, and I am on the education committee, so I will look into it. But this program was already funded.
Mayor,
Well,
Mayor,
like-
Council, if I may interject, I have a brief history of this item. So you're correct. Obviously, it was approved in the budget. Staff did get direction to research this topic. It wasn't correlated with the school district. Staff, including myself, met with the potential vendor, I believe from the city of Irvine somewhere, about implementing a mathebotics program within the city. Logistically, we weren't able to come to any agreement. The feasibility wasn't possible at the time, logistically and financially. So at that point, the program proposal kind of sat there as it is today. The funding is still there. Nothing was spent whatsoever. So that's kind of a brief history of the program, but it did not pertain to the school district.
Yeah, I just recall that when this program was being looked at, it was a program that was going to benefit nursery school kids. And I was against it because I couldn't see spending that kind of money on nursery school kids in a robotics program. I would make a motion to strike this from the approved budget. So that's my motion, if I can get a second.
I'll second that motion.
Could I continue discussion? I just wanted to make a comment.
Yes, you can.
That, we decided to look at specific programs at a later time. And this could be included in that, and Ernie can present that at our next meeting when we discuss other programs. I just thought I don't think we should evaluate any specific program today. I don't think any of us were given enough information.
Well, I made the motion and it was seconded.
Yes, and I'd like to say this. The reason I second it, because I remember when that robotic program was going on and you met with people from Irvine, and they say we need to have a room, a large room, to hold the stuff, and it must remain locked, and no one can use that room because they don't want no little pieces being misplaced. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And we have no room to give them a room under lock and key where our staff can't enter that room. And that was one of the major reasons we did not continue in it. And that is why I second this motion.
Well, I've been on the education committee since I've gotten on council, and I was not invited to that to that meeting. And I have talked to our previous acting city manager, Ms. Hollinsworth, and I have talked to Mr. Hernandez about the possibility of looking into a robotics program. So as the education committee council member on this council, I would like a chance to review the prospect of it. And the basic idea is simply to introduce kids, yes, maybe a little bit young, but they are our future, to robotics, to the wave of the future technology. That's the whole base of it.
Ms. Rios, is it preschool kids?
This was, I am not sure in terms of the language when it was approved, but as I remember, we can check with the city clerk, but the vote for the budget was 5-0. So I believe Mr. Bruce Rodriguez supported the budget at that time. But I will look into the language. That's what Mr. Booth just said about, what did he say? I don't know, what was, nursery kids or something like that?
Yeah.
I don't know. I will have to look into it as your education committee member.
Well, back to the topic. There was a motion and a second. So
Correct.
can we get a roll call vote?
We were in discussion, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's true. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any further discussion? I'd like to call for the vote.
Councilmember Rios?
No.
Councilmember Maravilla?
No.
Councilmember Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bruce?
Yes.
Mayor Trimble?
Yes.
Motion carries.
I'd like to make a motion to receive C1. I'd like to receive C1 to accept the budget as amended.
Second.
Approve it. Approve as amended. We have a second. All in favor?
No.
Just clarification, though, is Mrs. Underwood? As I understand, there's a separate motion for one of the line items, right? If approved, we're voting on the rest of the budget, correct? Okay.
Isn't that a roll call type? Okay.
No, we.
So was there a motion on to receive, I'm sorry, I lost it. Mayor?
Yes.
And,
The mayor moved to approve the amended,
As
the
amended,
budget
yes.
as amended. There was a second, and now it's appropriate to ask the council members to vote.
Councilmember Rios?
Yes.
Councilmember Villa?
Yes.
Councilmember Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bruce?
Yes.
Mayor Trimble?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, now we'll move to discussion items. Discussion item 1, a request from Councilmember Maravilla to discuss the City Commission's Planning Commission, Parks and Recreation Commission, and Public Safety Commission. This agenda item was continued from February 14th, 2017.
Yes, so thank you very much for carrying over the item. I wasn't able to be here at the last meeting, but I guess we have a presentation.
Sorry, I forgot my remote. Thank
Okay,
you.
so I'll let Ernie take.
So per the request of the City Council, I'll do a brief presentation, and obviously I don't have a lot of historical knowledge, but the City Clerk can answer any questions related to previous and current processes. So the City currently has 3 City Commissions, and there they are, the Planning Commission, Public Safety, and the Recreation Commission. The appointment of those commissions are done by the mayor with the consensus of the City Council. The commissioners are subject to a passing background. They serve a 4-year term and may be removed by the majority of the City Council or if they're absent for 3 or more meetings. Just some related historical information that we did discover is that the current process is in place since 2002 per ordinance number 475. And in February of '96, the Public Safety and Recreation Commissions were temporarily put on hold, but reinstated again in 1999. And before you is the current Planning Commission members and their terms. And again, the City Clerk can answer any questions related to previous practices.
So I know that ever since I became an elected official, I've had several different residents inquire about possibly serving on some of our commissions. And I was reading through the language, which as presented earlier, says that every commissioner serves for a 4-year term from the date of appointment or for an unexpired term. So I think that as a council, maybe we should clarify, is it a 4-year term or is it for an unexpired term? And so, I don't know if you have more information.
An unexpired term is if someone is on the commission and they choose to leave or move out of the city, then that is the unexpired term that someone is put in to fulfill that final term, and then they can reapply for the commission after their term expires if they choose to.
Right. So as we can see up on the PowerPoint, we've had some commissioners that have served for closer to 16 years, or I'm not sure how that.
We have 2 commissioners that have been on for years, Grant Winford and Pedro Amaro. Pedro Amaro's been on for 20 years, Grant's at least 20 or more. Mm-hmm. And they've been on different commissions. They've been moved around because that is the prerogative of the council and with the consent mayor and the council. And there's been times when we've had the planning commission with nobody on it, that they'd only have maybe 3 people. So they've been gracious to, they could be moved any time, and they've been gracious to do that to help out the city. The others are, the others are newer commissioners, but they have been very diligent in attending their meetings, all of them, and they're very concerned about their commissions, and they work very hard at what they do. And it's very difficult to get commissioners, when you said that you've had several residents speaking to you. Yeah. When we had an opening on the Recreation Commission for over almost 3 years, and we put paper, we put it in the newspaper, we put it on the website, we put it on the marquee, I announced it, and nobody would call me and contact me for this. Finally, somebody was put on there, and then when another person had passed away and wasn't on the commission, it was another year to 2 years before somebody took that seat. It's been very difficult to get people, and I wish I knew these people, because I always ask for a letter of interest. When the letters of interest come in, then the mayor and the mayor pro tem or mayor and another council member, I set up meetings so they can meet with these people. And so that's been how it's been running for the last several years.
So, of course, I truly respect all of the work that the commissions do. I think I've said that in the past. And I truly, I'm very grateful that people serve and volunteer their time. However, I do want to open it up for other people to apply. And so what I would ask the city council is to see if there's any way that we can align the terms with the council members so that each council member gets an appointee. And this may not necessarily affect the current commissions as they stand, because commissioners that are there now can reapply, and then council members can choose to reappoint the same commissioners to the same commissions. But I would like this to at least correlate with each council member, so that when new council comes in, or different ideas, different people can have the opportunity to be appointed. So that's sort of where I'm coming from, and a lot of people don't necessarily know that there are commissions with vacancies at times. But I know that ever since I got elected, a lot of people that do know me have contacted me. I know a couple of girls that just got a degree in criminal justice and wanted to see how they can serve, but I told them there weren't any vacancies at this time. So I know some cities do it very differently. I know the city of Long Beach has the mayor appoint the commissioners because the mayor is appointed at large. So people have to vote in the mayor. So it's not like we rotate it like how we do here. But there's other councils where each mayor gets to appoint their own commissioner. I know that Chris Apodaca gets his own appointees on the school board. So if you guys would like to entertain my comments and provide any feedback.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Sue. The way I understand it is the mayor has not the power to appoint people and take people off. He has the power to receive applications that council get from the residents, and we go over these applications, and then we vote as a council, who gets approved and who's not approved. Is that correct? Is that the way we're set up right now?
The way the handbook reads, it's the mayor with the consensus of the council puts people on there, and the mayor with the consensus of council can ask people to move or can take them off. But it's a consensus. It's not just the mayor making
exactly
that appointment.
And that's the way we're set up. It's not the mayor just like this person and not like that person. He goes to council and council votes on it. And I think that's a good process.
Well,
go ahead, Mr. Rodriguez.
Like Sue was saying, we had years that we announced it here on the meetings, and we didn't. When we had a hard time getting any response from our residents, and as those people that we have up there, they should serve their term all the way. Now, as far as getting each individual council member appointing somebody, it kind of opens up to where you're going to appoint a friend of yours, whether they qualify or not. And so with the consensus of the city council, I don't see why, like if we do have an opening, anybody can come and apply for it, whether without being appointed by any particular council member. And it would be up to all of us to decide whether this person is qualified or not because that person is a friend of mine, and regardless. So it should be just the way we have it now. I mean, if there's an opening, you can also have that person apply for it.
So as we can see up on the top, for example, we have a council member that started in 2000 and their term expires in 2018. And they may not even go through the process of getting reappointment or reviewed by the city council, correct?
No. When the time comes, like the 2018, in January of next year, if I'm still here, I would tell the council that there's going to be openings on certain commissions. I tell it, and then we put it in the newsletter. In fact, I send out to the newsletter, and this is basically, I put for Planning Commission, Public Safety, there are 2 positions available on the Planning Commission, 1 position available on Public Safety, a background in planning, and it tells a little bit about what you need to be on these. This goes out to our newsletter. This goes to on the marquee, and we encourage people to respond. The people that are on the commissions also have the option of sending a letter of interest to want to stay on there. So at that time, if we have a lot of people responding, that's fantastic. We go through the process, and the person that's already on the planning commission or what commission may not still be on there. But in the past, we've never had people call and contact. In fact, each time, I may have just the letters of interest from the commissioners. Once in a while, I'll get a letter or two, and but it's after the commissions have been filled. So, I mean, if there's people out there, and 2018, I'll start, like I said, in January of next year, I will start announcing this so that people can have the opportunity to send in their letters of interest and be interviewed by the mayor and the whoever's with him. And at that point, then bring the names to the council for their decisions.
Yeah, I guess, the dates that a lot of people feel intimidated to even submit their letters of interest because they see that somebody has been there for over a decade or whatnot. So that's the reason why I decided to agendize this to make sure to address their concerns about having that opportunity to serve. But I know that a lot of openings will be coming up, so I can probably just have them.
I was going to say, each commissioner knows that they can be removed at any time.
Not that I want to remove anybody.
I understand,
I think they're all doing a fantastic job.
I'm just saying that this is the mayor and the consensus of council. That is their priority or prerogative to change, move someone to another commission, or vacate a seat if they want to.
Well, I appreciate Ms. Maravilla's outreach to the community because I know you have really talked to a lot of residents and have found a lot of interest. But it does seem that in March 2018, 9 of the positions will be up for consensus again. It may be those, I would encourage those people to apply. if they really want to be on the commission. I was privileged to actually serve with Mr. Winford, Grant Winford. He's been there forever on the Planning Commission, and I truly enjoy his experience, and I still see him at our events, and it's just wonderful to see him continue to give a lot of his hours to the city and making our city better. So it does help to have experience, but again, there's a lot of new ideas in our city, so when those 9 positions are up, if they can submit their letters, and we just look at all the letters of interest. And as a council, we determine who will continue to serve on our commissions or new people or the same people, et cetera. But it's great because there are many years that we had nobody. So thank you.
Yeah, and I want to thank Pedro, because I see you out there. I don't know if Grant's out there because I'm blind, but at any rate, I appreciate your longevity, and I appreciate your expertise on those commissions. And both you and Grant are excellent commissioners who always are very involved and on any commission that you've been on. So I really do appreciate that. And I do think it's best to leave it the way it is. Those people who have terms should be able to complete those terms. We have some coming up. And I think any mayor is going to be excited if they see new names that have never been on there before. And I'm sure a lot of those commissioners would even be willing to allow somebody else to step up to have the experience. But when there is no one stepping up, we sure appreciate the veteranos stepping up again. So thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you for bringing that up. We will go to our next discussion item. Excuse me. Okay, I'll make a motion to receive and file.
I second.
D1. Okay, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Now we will move to discussion item number 2. A request from Councilmember Rios for an update on public safety at Leeware Park. This agenda item was continued from February 14, 2017.
And I appreciate our continuance of this matter because I know Ms. Maravilla really worked hard on this, and actually she's the one that brought this meeting to fruition and all that is happening with that. And I know you, Mr. Trimble, as the mayor, should be here because you were also very eloquent at that meeting and had a lot of input, so we can move forward with the presentation.
Thank you.
Mayor Linda Zuniga, Administrative Analyst, will present on this item.
Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council, this report is an update to the Town Hall meeting held in January. City Council asked us to look into ways of gaining input from the community about making changes at Leeware Park in an effort to improve safety and make better use of the outdoor park area. The updates are a result of the comments that were shared during the meeting and the action taken by different city departments. The Human Services Department has increased the outdoor activities by recreation. Staff at the Leeware Recreation Center is inspecting the outside park area more often and has been reminded to report all disruptive or destructive activities that has been witnessed at the park. Our Public Works Department is reporting that all fencing repairs and improvements have been completed, and that's the fence that separates the park from Coyote Creek. All lighting in the park and surrounding neighborhoods is in working order, and we will continue to work with residents, encouraging them to report outages as soon as they are noticed, whether it's the street lights maintained by Edison or the park lights. And as far as the graffiti, staff continues to survey the park first thing each morning for graffiti. And they will be called out during weekends or holidays for excessive graffiti or graffiti that may be sensitive in nature. The Sheriff's Department attended the town hall meeting, and according to Sergeant Macy, our patrol deputies assigned to the city have reported that the area in the park has been very quiet since the meeting, or town hall meeting, and there has been a significant reduction in graffiti. The Lakewood Station has received one call since the meeting, and that was an anonymous caller reporting teenagers throwing lights at the city lights, throwing rocks at the at the lights. And we are continuing to get positive feedback from the community on our increased parking and traffic enforcement. And that seems to be improving conditions as well. Staff will continue to promote positive communication between our residents and law enforcement through our monthly neighborhood safety meetings, our community events, and on an individual basis with residents who call or visit City Hall for assistance. The Capital Improvement Committee met and visited the park together and have made recommendations, which include installing a patio cover over the picnic tables, improving lighting, and adding security cameras. Funding for these recommendations was approved in the budget item on tonight's agenda. So these improvements are now approved and funding is available. Additional review would be necessary if you wanted to make changes with the handball court. So that concludes the updates. We can answer any question. There's other department directors here that may have input as well.
Thank you for that report. And my first question goes to Joe. Are things happening already for this structure? When I was in your office today, I seen a structure. Is that your planning for that park?
Shown that photo at the last budget session that we had, I believe, a week or two ago. And if that's the desire of the council, that's what we're going to proceed with, which is that wooden structure. We did get an estimate from H&R Construction. So I do see that tonight you did approve the budget of $70,000 for those improvements. The majority of those funds will be utilized for that wooden structure, which would also entail moving or relocating one of the picnic tables and related concrete pad foundation. And the second major item for that park is really going to be security cameras, and we'll evaluate what needs to be done with lighting.
Thank you very much.
I'll have you know that that's my structure. And so I want my name on that.
We will put a plaque on it.
His face.
And you are looking at the stack stones on.
Yes, I do recall you wanted stack stone. So that like I said, that was just a clip art right out of Google, and it looks like Ronaldo fell in love with that photo, and that's the one we're going to go with.
So I just want to let the community know that this all started basically from complaints. But I think that this evolved into something much more positive because Mariana had suggested to go ahead and make a town hall meeting or create a town hall meeting at Hawaiian Elementary School. So there we had so many residents show up to voice concerns for and against the handball courts and a lot of underlying issues regarding lighting and lack of a structure and other issues that came up. And I just want to thank the residents who took the time. Pedro was there. Thank you for taking the time to engage with us and giving us feedback because we need that. And so thank you, Mariana, for that amazing suggestion. And then I want to thank Ray for that amazing suggestion for the structure. So I think a lot of the residents that live across the street from Leeware and in that neighborhood will truly enjoy it. And thank you to the council for making it happen. Yes. Good job, guys.
Mayor, if I may. And so now that actually tonight's agenda, you approved the improvements, now we can move forward. I think I just want to say that this town hall meeting, I think, happened on the second day of my employment here. So it was a great meeting, a great example, I think, for me of how involved you are as leaders, the community really providing their input. And now that we have your approval, we have our marching orders, myself and the management team and city staff, I think are going to be a good regiment of public servants. And now we have your approval, we can move forward. Thank you.
I would like, though, before we conclude this, and that is to showcase the idea of the, what is it called, a canopy or the structure, to showcase it to the community. I know some of them are in the audience right now that were there at our meeting, to give them a chance to give input, see if they're okay with it. I know that the council looked at it and we were okay with it, most of us. So if there's any suggested changes, give them time to do so. And then maybe, Ms. Maravilla, you can post it on your website too, because I know you get a lot of input from it.
What, I don't think you have it tonight, right?
I don't have it handy with me right now. It's at my desk. But if I have to put it on the next agenda just to...
You know what we could do is put it on the city website as something that we're looking to start soon, and put samples of it and get input and provide that input to you.
If you could send the renderings to me also, like to all the council, and then we can just ask for feedback. And
I just wanted to make one comment on that because I talked with the staff who's in charge of Clarkdale Park today, and she told me that people are getting tired of waiting for the skate park, and because we promised it a while back. So what they're doing is writing on the door, "Where's our skate park?" Because they're getting frustrated.
It was promised to them.
They're protesting.
Yes.
March in here.
Yeah. So I just want to thank the public for being patient. You see, we're moving forward. They got their marching orders. They will march on. Just be patient with us. So we got to make this stuff happen, Joe.
I will provide a comment during oral staff reports.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. That was D2. Okay. I make a motion to receive and file D2, discussion item D2.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. We'll move on to discussion item 3. Discussion regarding California Senate Bill 415, voter participation and council direction for transitioning to a statewide election date. Council?
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, City staff, members of the public, the following item is intended as for informational and discussion purpose. This is a discussion related to California Senate Bill 415. On September 1st, 2015, Governor Brown signed into law SB 415, which prohibits local governments beginning January 1st, 2018 from holding an election on any date other than a statewide election date if doing so has resulted in voter turnout being at least 25% below the average turnout in that jurisdiction in the previous 4 statewide general elections. Pursuant to Election Code Section 1001, statewide election dates are recognized to occur in June and November of each even-numbered year. The public policy behind SB 415 was to address waning civic engagement in politics, as illustrated by declining voter turnout in federal, state, and municipal elections. The legislative analysis asserts that one major contributing factor to low voter turnout is the timing of the elections. This could be addressed by synchronizing municipal elections with statewide elections. The City of Hawaiian Gardens general municipal elections are now held in November of odd number years to elect 5 members of the City Council with staggered terms. Pursuant to Education Code Section 10403.5, subsection B, the City Council may increase or decrease any terms of office by not more than 12 months. In accordance with SB 415, the City Clerk's Office has conducted an analysis of voter turnout and determined that the city will be required to conduct its general municipal elections to coincide with statewide elections as soon as 2018. However, provided that the City Council adopts its transition plan by January 1st, 2018, it may synchronize any statewide election through November 8th, 2022. The City Clerk's Office has further analyzed voter turnout at statewide primary elections held in June versus statewide general elections held in November, and determined that there is a significant increase in voter turnout at statewide general elections. At this time, the city staff is seeking City Council direction. So it's recommended that the City Council direct staff when to begin the synchronization of the city's general municipal elections with statewide election dates in November of even-numbered years. This process can begin as early as the statewide election of November 2018 in accordance with California Senate Bill 415. And that concludes the presentation.
Thank you very much. So my understanding is this, correct me if I'm wrong. Our election is November of 2017, and this would allow us to have our election moved to November 2018. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, sorry. That is correct. That is the soonest you can make transition either way, you have to make this transition at some point prior to, what's the deadline?
January 1, 2018.
So by January 1, 2018, you have to decide when you do this. The earliest you can do it is at the current upcoming election.
Yes. And I honestly feel we should move the election from 2017 to November 2018, because I feel this council, with this staff, we could do great things for the city. I think we need that extra year, because we're just starting to bond. We're just starting to see a good direction. So I encourage council to give direction to staff to move forward on this and move our election to 2018 of November. Any comments? What do I do now? I make a motion to move the election to 2018 November.
So, just one quick. So there's 3 of us there due this November. So if we make this move, then we will have to serve another year until November of 2018. Is everybody here agree with that? I mean, Myra and Hank have nothing to do with this at this time. Of course, you will get the same thing when your term expires, or how's that going to work?
No, it all moves up.
It moves up a year.
We'll move up 1 year.
Okay, so does anybody have any objections, or?
Well, I would defer to you because I know you had plans to retire.
Well, that's what I'm trying to find out. I mean, if you guys agree with it, I mean,
if you resign, that's like a special election.
Sacrifice another year from my rancho there. So.
And just to clarify, you have to make this decision at some point. So you have to make the transition.
So tonight we can make the decision.
Yes. You got one more in you, Ray.
So are we going to take a vote on this? This is a very important issue here. We're going to take a vote.
It's a very important issue.
The mayor made a motion.
I made the motion to receive this. It's a very important issue. It's a very important city, and this is a very important council. And I think we could do stuff for the city here. Very important staff.
Mr. Mayor, so as the city clerk pointed out, this is you would be directing staff to go ahead and get this in motion, and so this would come back to you in the form of an amended ordinance, city ordinance. So you'd be directing staff to prepare to bring back to you, moving the elections from November 17th to November 2018, and move the November 19th city election to November 2020.
This is a happy moment.
Any comments, Ray?
I still want my robotics program.
I think we should have a roll call vote on this.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
what was that?
Again, the motion would be to direct staff to move the election from November 2017 to November 2018, and to move the November 2019 city election to November 2020. And this would be to synchronize with the even-numbered years for the statewide elections.
Yes, and
so that would be the motion. Then it would come back to the city council for final approval via an ordinance, an amendment to the city's ordinance.
Yes, and I made the motion. I'm looking for a second, and then we'll go with a roll call vote.
Well, after we need to have discussion, right? Are we having discussion now?
Well, this was the discussion.
I haven't put my input.
We'll open up for discussion if you'd like to speak on it.
I would.
Okay, speak on.
There's no opposition, obviously. We were elected by the residents, and so I just wanted to clarify a comment I just burst out saying, and that is my unhappiness with the robotics program, obviously. But it's not my program. Actually, Councilmember Victor Farfan is the one that proposed it, and he's the one that really wanted it to fruition. So just wanted to make that clear, that it was not my program. I'm just supportive of education as a teacher, and that was that. But I respect, we have to make that decision either now or later. And as council members, we were elected to do the best we can to represent the city. So that was it.
Thank you very much. The motion's been made. Is there a second to move the election?
And of course, the main purpose of this is to increase voters in elections. So that is why the whole reason for it exists. And hopefully it will do that. Hopefully we'll see a lot more voters come out as a result. So I'll second it.
Roll call vote.
So the motion basically is to bring this back as a ordinance at the next meeting. And so the roll call vote, Councilmember Rios?
Yes.
Councilmember Maravilla?
Yes.
Councilmember Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bruce?
Yes.
Mayor Tremble?
Yes.
I think motion carried.
Good job. Okay. I make a motion to receive and file D3. Did we do it? Okay, good job. D4, adopt resolution number 011-217 to award the construction contract to Sully Miller in the amount of $2,620,118.08 for street and landscape improvements on Carson Street between Pioneer Boulevard and Norwalk Boulevard.
Thank you, Mayor. Community Development Director Joe Colombo will present on this item.
Yes, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council, this is basically a resolution that approves a contract between the City of Hawaiian Gardens and Sully Miller for the purpose of a new Carson Streetscape project. The limits of the work is Carson Street between Pioneer Boulevard and Norwalk. Normally, we would just be discussing the actual bid results and going through that motion, but I was asked to do a PowerPoint because this is a large project and it is a very important project for the city. So just to explain how we got here is, if you recall, the casino, as a result of the casino construction, they were required to pay a growth capital impact fee of about 4% of the building evaluation, which is over $60 million. So that created about $2.4 million for the city, and it was decided by the council to allocate those funds for Carson Street. And this has been a long anticipated project. There has been several meetings involved. We did involve the community. Also, the casino was on a payment plan. For the most part, we have most of that. There's still about $400,000 outstanding that they still owe to the city. However, we should be able to award the project and continue with this project here. As I indicated, there had been community input for this project. There was a capital improvement committee of Councilmember Ronaldo Rodriguez and Barry Bruce. We have been before the City Council a couple of times, so you may probably recall some of these slides that we had previously shown, but for the benefit of the public, if we could just go through again and see what exactly is the Carson Street beautification. So basically, this project does not involve any right-of-way activity where we're trying to condemn any property or enlarging the medians or anything like that. It's basically a massive landscape project. We're going to plant about 100 trees and about 2,500 plants. Some of the new amenities is a new pedestal for the plaques, the commemorative plaques that are out there right now, bus shelters, trash receptacles, a block wall, and a wrought iron fence that basically will screen the flood control channel on various streets along Carson. A decorative sidewalk with pavers and a saw cut pattern throughout the boulevard, similar to what you have right now in front of the library. And of course, stamped concrete treatments at 2 crosswalks, which would be Carson and Pioneer and Carson and Norwalk Boulevard. Various handicap ramps and curbs will be upgraded where needed. And of course, one of the major items is the branding that will occur through signage and graphics and wayfinding signage that's going to be installed throughout the boulevard. Again, this is the limit of the construction job is, again, between Pioneer and Norwalk Boulevard. Hopefully in the future with other grant funds, we'll be able to address the other part of Carson Street as well as Norwalk Boulevard, hopefully with some Measure R funds and maybe Measure M funds. This is a current photo of what Carson Street looks like today at the corner of Carson and Pioneer Boulevard in front of the Chevron. And this is what the concept rendering of what the boulevard will look like. That is a pylon sign that will change colors. some of the branding that will occur, some of the signage that will occur on the boulevard, and of course, new planting along the medians. And this is the night photo. Again, this is an existing shot of of Carson Street, right in front of the casino. And this is what it will look like when complete. Various treatments along the boulevard. Again, the sidewalks will receive various treatments in the form of new pavers and saw cutting patterns, new trees, and new planters that will be installed along the boulevard. And this is the night shot. Again, you'll notice the signage, the new identity that will create along the boulevard, and the new pedestrian lighting that will occur along the boulevard as well. This is an example of what the treatments will look like throughout Carson Street. Again, this is something that we have already experienced and done in front of the library. This is a photo of the flood control channel right in front of Derwent Central, I believe it is, where what we plan on doing here is basically treating this with block wall, and I believe this was the design that was selected by the committee, and wrought iron along the sides for entry points. And this is an example of the pylon sign. And again, the various graphics that will occur throughout the city on the boulevard, new signage, and these are the traffic controllers will get wrapping around the controllers to match the signage.
Can I ask a question? Are we changing the color of our signs from green to this?
No. The color of the signs meaning, which signs are you, the logo?
No. Go back one screen. But go back another screen. That right there.
The
Casino,
signs on the
public safety.
Right, the signs on the boulevard, those are the colors that was selected by the committee.
So we're not going to be green no more?
They're still going to be green, but they're going to be a gradient throughout the boulevard changing colors.
So the committee has that much authority to
Well,
change
it wasn't just the
things
committee,
in the
the
neighborhood?
council had approved the plans
Have
and
we approved it?
specifications. Correct. Not once, but I believe twice.
You have not approved it. This was the previous council, so you haven't seen it.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe you weren't on, but the previous council did.
Quick question. Has the casino reviewed this project? Mr. Colombo? Oh, there's two conversations
I
happening?
believe that the information was provided to them. I believe it was provided to Keith.
Right, so per your direction, actually, at the budget study session, I let Keith know that evening, and the next day I sent him a package with the renderings and everything else, and
So they have the whole?
they have everything.
Okay, good. Thank you.
So there was about 5 bids that were received. Most of them had mathematical errors, so after doing a bid analysis through Wildan, it was determined that Sully Miller Contracting Company was the lowest bidder of $2,620,000, 118.08. And you can see in page 114 the budget that has been created for this project. The amount that was allocated for design services, the amount that's going to be allocated for construction management, labor compliances, and that is usually done by Wildan. And of course, we have a 10% contingency in this particular case rather than 15 because it is a larger project. We normally go with the 10% contingency. So a total expenditures of $3,337,000 and change. And there will be one change order because I need to create a plaque for Mr. Ronaldo.
Thank you very much. I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution number 011-2017.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. We'll be moving to committee reports.
a couple of weeks. Oh, committee?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I'm not on this specific. Well, maybe I'll do this under my report.
Go ahead.
But I'm not. It's not for like a committee. But I went to a training.
Okay. Well, okay. You wait for
Yes, I'll wait. I'll wait.
for
Yeah, I'll
council
wait.
reports. Yes. Okay. A new business. Oral staff reports.
Yeah, I have one report, as indicated, I was going to make regarding the skate park. That's something that will be coming before the city council shortly. Again, we have been working diligently with the capital improvement committee. But again, when we did call out some of these meetings, the skateboarders did not show up. So we did get our direction from the capital improvement committee, and that's something that we're going to be bringing forward very shortly before the entire city council. And the direction is that we are going to be staying within the allocated budget of the grant amount, which has been extended to the year 2018, I believe.
Now, the first time you had a meeting, there were a lot of skaters at the meeting. Did you take down their information?
Yes, ma'am, we did. We took down their contact information and we invited them to follow-up meetings that we scheduled, and unfortunately, we didn't get any in attendance.
How did you contact them?
Via mail and door knocking.
Okay, sufficient. You do. What else? Tweet them.
I'd like to add that those kids that wrote that letter, it's been 3 years, so they're from 13 years old to 16. They might have different
priorities.
They're driving now. They want a race car track.
We'll be presenting two proposals as directed by the committee. One is basically to replace the current modulars that are out there, and the other proposal would be a hybrid of both modulars and some concrete, bases. So we will bring that forward to you.
Yeah, but I thought council approved that already. I thought there was a planning going on. We said we're going to go concrete. Oh, it's been back and forth.
It's been back and forth several times, and there was never any budget allocation for this project, and there still isn't. So the only budget that we have right now to work with is the grant amount.
And that was extended until December 2018, I believe?
December 2018, I believe, correct.
So we have 2 years to use that money.
So are you looking for direction tonight to move forward?
I'm not looking for any additional input because I know I can't. This was just strictly for me to give you an update. We've been spending a lot of time on this project that we just presented tonight, so we're going to start working on that project as well, on the skate park, and bringing that before the city council because we do need direction on that.
Okay, thank you very much, because we need to put this skate park on a front burner because it's been years.
Can I ask a question to the capital improvement committee regarding that? Or yes.
Yeah, certainly at this time, if this
Okay.
discussion is over, it's
Okay.
appropriate to ask.
I know last time I mentioned Cerritos Regional Park, well, Donkanabe Regional Park, and I saw their amazing new skate park. Have you guys checked it out?
Yes.
And have you contacted them to see who did their plans and who did all their?
I seen the park. I'm not on the committee. These two.
One that talked to our designs engineers.
I actually went out there with Ernesto Marquez, so we did look at the site. We looked at actually several different sites, not just Cerritos. But again, we are working at the direction of the Capital Improvement Committee, and we have to work within a certain budget amount. And so with $300,000, we are not going to be able to get something that what Cerritos has.
Which
But
is
we do have two
unfortunate.
concepts, right?
The two concepts
We
will
have two
be to
concepts
stay
and
within the
you can
current
look at it.
footprint of the existing skate park. The direction was one, work within the footprint, replace the modular units, and there's different type of modular units. And second would be, again, staying within the same footprint, but a hybrid of modular units and concrete.
We did agree to also add more funds to it besides the grant. I forgot.
And with that, we'll also be doing the replacement of the mulch at the various parks and security cameras and things of that nature.
When this comes before you, the hybrid would require additional funds, which is something that the committee had agreed to put forth to the entire city council. So, but the hybrid does require additional funds beyond the grant because it involves real concrete, similar to what some of those other skate parks look like. So,
I've gone to some other skate parks and they're sunk, right? There's a skate park and then it goes deep into the ground. Have we looked into that possibility?
We've looked at different designs. We have Wildan, who's on board, who is the person that is pretty much quarterbacking this. But again, I don't think we'll be able to have a whole lot of discussion on this. It's not agendized. I know there's going to be disagreements on this issue. And like I said, there is no budget at all that we've ever put into the fiscal year, whether it's this one or the prior. The only thing we had is the grant. We've had some renderings that the council had approved and had liked to see done, but no budgets was ever, no funds were ever allocated for that project.
Thank you. I'll look for
there
the
was
report
discussion for it, but it's something that will have to come before you, and then you can discuss it as a whole.
Oral council reports?
No.
So I attended recently the WELL conference, the Water Education for Latino Leaders, and it was very interesting. They went over some of the laws that we need to abide by in regards to clean water ordinance amendments and laws. And they informed us that although we may be out of a severe drought as we were before, this is cyclical, and it's likely that we'll enter into a drought in the near future. And so they talked about MS4 compliance, and I'm not sure if that's been presented to the council yet, but I would like to see if we can get a report on this. It was discussed that in the future we'll need to have most, I guess cities need to be compliant and find, it's an unfunded mandate with little grant money available, which will likely be passed over to property owners in terms of making concrete and surface area so that water can penetrate through into our water table. And so I guess we have a lot of runoff due to our ditches. And so I don't know if that's a presentation that we can agendize, or I don't know who the correct person for that would be.
Yes, we can have that agendized, but it will take some time. We do contract that with John Hunter and Associates, and they will provide that for us.
Because I know that moving forward, you know, when we look into assisting with projects for homeowners, private homeowners, you know, we should consider how these laws affect the designs that people have or make for their properties. And perhaps that's something we want to look towards as a council, as in what permits or we're willing to allow or not allow, depending on like the cement type and those types of things. So maybe that's something we can look into.
Are those continuous meetings? I just saw an invite for a conference in March from the same individuals.
It may or may not be, but this one was actually very well attended. There were over, I want to say, close to 200 or 300 people, and all of them were council members from this and surrounding areas. So it was very interesting. They had experts, water experts. I forget what they're called, like not. It's like a real term, like water wizards or something really weird. But people are experts in the water industry, I guess. What are they called? But it was very unique. I thought they were kidding, but nobody was laughing. And they continue to talk about this. And so apparently, I guess they make concrete where the water can seep through. And it's really expensive, apparently, and they're projecting that it'll be more and more expensive as time goes on. So maybe this is something that we can perhaps subsidize or have a program for it, so that when homeowners renovate their homes, we can start being compliant and tracking these things.
I know I checked my calendar for it. I'll forward it to staff. Maybe the staff can attend the next one, and you'll be informed as to what the conversation is.
Please, and then also if there's any upcoming meetings or conferences that the city council may wish to attend to get educated on the matter, I'll make sure that you're informed.
Well, I have a report. I got an email from Melbourne School inviting me to be principal of the day. So I'm excited about that. And I'm also going to their read aloud. So I'm excited about that. And I went to Sacramento to speak on the Senate floor, which is why I wasn't at our last council meeting. And they booted me off the floor because of this. They told me I had 5 minutes to speak. So I wrote something up for 5 minutes. Then when I get there, they said, you have 2 minutes to speak. And then I said, okay. And then they said, you can say one sentence. So I showed them the last paragraph, and they loved it. They said, go ahead and do that. So when I introduced myself as the mayor of the city of Hawaiian Gardens in support of SB1, and I started reading this real quick, one of the senators said, excuse me, sir, you're here just to support the bill. And I said, I'm here in support of SB1. Thank you very much. And then that was it. But it was fun. It was fun. So that's my report. No respect for the mayors. So I'm going to adjourn to a regular city council meeting being held on Tuesday, March 14th, 2017 at 6 p.m. Thank you, everybody.